company is about to approve a $2 million AI initiative. The board is confident. The vendor demo was flawless. The consultants have a slide with a hockey stick curve. 12 months from now, there's a 95% chance this investment changes nothing. Not underperforms. Nothing. No measurable return. No line on the P&L. That's not a guess. That number comes from real research on hundreds of companies. But here's what's strange. These aren't reckless companies. They have talent. They have budget. They hired the right people. Therefore, the question isn't, why do bad companies waste money on AI? The question is bigger than that. Why do 95% of AI investments return nothing? Even inside companies that did everything right. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the obvious explanations, wrong tool, bad training, poor data, are true, but incomplete. And you'll see the real pattern hiding underneath almost every failed AI project. One that has nothing to do with technology. Let's start with the explanation. Everyone reaches for first. The tool was wrong. It's a comfortable story. Swap the vendor. Fix the problem. But researchers who interviewed the engineers actually building these systems found something else. The most common failure wasn't the model. It was a mismatch between what the AI was built to do and what the business actually needed. Teams optimized for the wrong metric. They solved a technical problem nobody asked about. Therefore, the tool wasn't broken. The instructions were. So maybe it's training. Maybe employees just don't know how to use these systems yet. That's part of it too. But training explains confusion. It doesn't explain why fully trained, highly capable teams at well-funded companies still watch pilots die in the same place, over and over. The point where a proof of concept has to become a real, adopted, repeated decision inside daily operations. Maybe it's the data then. Analysts point out that a huge share of abandoned projects trace back to messy, ungoverned data nobody wanted to admit was messy. That's real too. But notice something about all three explanations so far. Wrong tool, poor training, bad data. Every single one is a way of saying, the system wasn't ready. None of them ask a harder question. Was the organization around the system ready? Here's a historical echo worth sitting with. Long before generative AI, researchers tracking digital transformation projects found that more than 70% of them failed to meet their objectives, years before anyone had heard of a chatbot. Same failure shape, different decade, different technology. Therefore, the common factor can't be the technology. It has to be something the company brings to every new system. Regardless of what that system is. Something else is happening at the exact point where a pilot needs to become a real, adopted, repeated decision inside daily operations. Therefore, we need to look at what actually happens the moment a new system needs a decision made about it. Not once, but constantly. Here's a number most executives have never heard. Decision fatigue is estimated to cost the global economy roughly $400 billion a year in lost productivity and poor outcomes. Not from working too many hours, from deciding too many times. The average adult makes tens of thousands of decisions a day. For a business leader running a growing company, that number climbs. Because every unclear responsibility, every unowned process, eventually lands on their desk. But here's the part that connects everything. When a company deploys a new AI system, it doesn't remove decisions. It multiplies them. At least at first. New exceptions, new edge cases, new judgment calls about when to trust the output, and when not to. Therefore, a leadership team that was already stretched thin on decision-making capacity now has to make a whole new category of decisions, faster, with less precedent to lean on. The system isn't failing because it's not smart enough. It's failing because the humans responsible for deciding how to use it were already out of decision-making capacity before it arrived. This pattern doesn't stay inside one leader's inbox. It scales. Inside a single team, it looks like decision fatigue. A manager who used to move fast now hesitates on calls that used to be easy. Inside a company, it looks like escalation culture. Employees learn that sending a decision upward is safer than owning it themselves. Over time, nearly every meaningful choice, hiring, pricing, a customer exception, roots back to the same small group of exhausted people at the top. Researchers studying this call it organizational dependency. It usually starts innocently. A founder or executive is capable and available, so people rely on them, but reliance compounds. What worked with 20 employees becomes a bottleneck at 200. Zoom out further, to an entire industry. The same companies now racing to deploy autonomous AI agents, systems that act without waiting for a human to click approve, are running into a version of the same problem at a larger scale. Analysts now describe it as agent sprawl. AI systems spreading through a business faster than anyone assigned an owner to watch them. Different scale, same root cause. Nobody clearly owns the decision. Zoom out one more level, to the economy itself. Surveys of large enterprises now report that fewer than 1 in 8 companies say they're getting significant, measurable value from their AI spending. But total AI spending keeps climbing into the hundreds of billions of dollars a year. More money going in, the same narrow slice coming out. That gap between spending and return isn't a technology gap, it's an ownership gap, repeated across thousands of companies at once. Therefore, the economy-wide AI failure rate isn't a technology statistic, it's a decision. Ownership statistic, measured in dollars. Here is the real discovery. The one most companies never see, because it was always hiding behind something else. AI does not create the failure. AI reveals it. Before the AI project, unclear decision ownership just looked like normal busyness. Meetings ran long. Approvals took a few extra days. Nobody measured the cost, because there was no dashboard for decisions that took 3 weeks because nobody owned them. But AI moves at a different speed. It exposes every unresolved ownership question immediately, loudly, and with a price tag attached. Therefore, the 95% failure rate isn't really about artificial intelligence at all. It's the bill finally arriving for a debt the business had been carrying quietly for years. Unclear ownership, escalation by default, decisions with no deadline and no accountable name attached. The paradigm most executives operate under says, we need the right AI strategy. The real paradigm is, we need the right decision architecture, and AI is just the first system fast enough to show us we never built one. So what does a leader actually do with this? First, before funding anything new, AI or otherwise, name one accountable owner for the outcome, not a committee, one name. Second, run a decision audit. For 1 week, track every decision that reaches your desk that shouldn't have to. Ask why it escalated. Usually the answer isn't, this was genuinely hard. The answer is, nobody was clearly allowed to decide it without me. Third, define stop criteria alongside success criteria. For every initiative, project without a clear way to end is a project that quietly drains attention forever. Fourth, before approving any AI pilot, ask the team to describe the problem without mentioning AI at all. If they can't, there isn't a real problem yet, just a technology looking for one. Fifth, watch for escalation by default. If the same 3 people keep getting looped into decisions that should belong to someone else, that's not a sign of a strong team. It's a sign the organization never finished assigning ownership as it grew. None of this requires new software. It requires deciding once who is allowed to decide, so the business stops relitigating the same choice every week. Companies don't call this work glamorous. It doesn't demo well in a board meeting. But it's the difference between the 5% of companies quietly compounding real returns from every new system they adopt, and the 95% still explaining, a year from now, why this year's initiative also didn't move the numbers. That company from the beginning of this video is still in the room, still about to sign. The technology they're buying isn't the risk. The unanswered question of who owns the decisions that come after signing, that's the risk. Most businesses will spend the next year asking which AI tool to buy. The businesses that actually get leverage from it will spend that same year asking a quieter question first. Inside our company, right now, who actually owns the decisions we keep avoiding? That question was expensive long before AI showed up. AI just made it impossible to ignore.